Well, we've entered into holiday season for sure. Recently, we had the pleasure of conducting the Christmas tree lighting and holiday caroling, compliments of Herndon High School Band. Thank you to them. And there are many, many activities coming forward in the next few weeks as we enter deep into the holiday season. And one of them is going to be the wonderful train show that comes into Herndon. So with me today is Richard Downer, the model train chairman for life, we have decided. And he has been the inspiration behind this wonderful addition to our holiday offerings. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you.
How did you get the idea to do this?
I've always loved trains and model trains. And it just goes back from my grandparents. Grandmother was from Scranton, Pennsylvania, and plenty of trains up there, and that got me hooked.
And so at some point you decided to make this dream a reality for Herndon.
Well, yeah, in fact, Linda, my wife, and I went down to Fairfax Station to a model train show down there, and I said, whoa, you know, we could do that in Herndon. And so this is actually the 10th year that we've done it. It's hard to believe, isn't it? And I talked to the folks that were doing it down there, and they said, oh, we'd be happy to come. They're always looking. It's really interesting. These are all but the O gauge, which is the larger locomotives, Lionel type things, but are modular. So you can just own one module. In some cases it's 3 foot wide, in some cases they're 4 foot wide. But they have standard connections on each end so that the gentleman who's the coordinator for the show for each of the organizations puts together a layout and sees who's available that weekend, and they come out and they run the trains. And it's a wonderful family experience. So this is, again, it's the 10th year. Now, we're going to be in 3 different locations. We'll be in the Herndon Municipal Center lobby, which is right on Center Street, 777 Center Street. And that will have the N gauge, which is about that big, and the HO gauge, which is about that big. And you can go on Google and Google model train gauges, and it'll tell you all about that. And they'll have displays in the lobby of the HMC. And then a gentleman who actually works for the town who came to me and said, well, I've got O gauge trains, and I'd love to put a display up. So we're using the conference room up on the 2nd floor, and he's got a fantastic O gauge, which is the larger ones. So we'll have those 3 different ones there. Then the caboose will be open for both days, and we'll have eventually a graphic up that shows the hours that they'll take place. It's December 12th and December 13th. Hope I'm right on this. 10 to 5 on the 12th, which is a Saturday, and 11 to 4 on Sunday. The groups that involved are the Potomac Modular Crew will be doing the HO, and N-Track, Northern Virginia N-Track, that does the other one. We have an addition this year because the depot is open also at the same hours, and there's a group that's called N-Track. It's a division of it, but they call them T-Track, and they literally, the modules designed to go on top of a card table. And they put a whole bunch of tables together, but you know, the standard height, I'd say, don't give a commercial, but the Costco type table, folding table, and they're going to do that in the freight room. And fortunately, theirs is small enough that it'll allow us to give the proper clearance around the sides for anybody who has a hard time getting around, like me. So anyway, you know, they're going to be there, and this is the first year that they'll be there. So we'll have model trains at 2 locations, and the real thing, the caboose, will be open also the same hours. And that's going to be manned by the Historical Society. Does all the docents for the depot for those hours, and then the model train, the caboose, will be the Sterling Park radio club, Shortwave Radio Club. That's the correct title, but that's what they do. And they man it on Saturday, and then we have 2 reenactors that man it on Sunday. One is in a Gary Rinker, who has a conductor's uniform, and our Historical Society president, Charlie Waddell, who has a brakeman's uniform. So it's a lot of fun for everybody. You can go to all 3. It's rain or shine. Hopefully it's going to be shine and warm. It can be awful cold in the caboose, but anyway, it should be. Last year we had almost 1,000 people through in the 2 days.
Isn't that amazing? That's wonderful, Richard.
It's really wonderful to see so many of the families bring the kids back again,
Right.
sometimes the same day. And the kids, and they're going to, well, they're showing, you can see some pictures right up here of the kids watching the thing. The hardest thing we have is to keep the kids from reaching on and touching something, but anyway. And these, as you see, these different groups, and you never know who's going to be there, you know, from the individual ones. You can see these 3 tracks are standard on the end gauge, and then the rest of it is decorated. That module, you know, is doing a circus. So you never know what you're going to have. It's different almost every time.
Right. Well, the Herndon Chamber has been proud to support you and underwrite you for these 10 years. I hadn't realized
it pays to be a chamber member.
Indeed it does. Thank you for bringing this to Herndon for the holidays, and I wish you a very wonderful, happy holiday season.
We can always use some help if anybody would like to volunteer.
All right, volunteers, talk to Richard.
All right.
Thanks again, Richard.
Yep.